Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, I'm reviewing the limited edition Burger Time arcade cabinet by Arcade1Up. Let's get started. Arcade1Up sent me this unit for review. There are 4 different games on this cabinet, Burger Time being the main game, followed by Karate Champ, Caveman Ninja, and Bad Dudes. This cabinet features a light-up marquee, and included in the package is also a fully themed Burger Time riser. This cabinet also arrives unassembled, so you will have to assemble this yourself. Assembling this cabinet was pretty straightforward and pretty easy. If you've ever assembled a piece of IKEA furniture before, you'll be right at home here, except this is even easier because everything is clearly labeled. I quite like this process and it's really nothing to worry about. Now, even though it was a fairly straightforward process, I did run into one issue connecting these bottom pieces. I could not figure out why these bottom pieces would not connect. The screw that I was using, for some reason, did not seem long enough. So I double checked the instructions, I double checked the parts that I was using, and everything looked like it matched. I just could not figure out why this didn't come together. Now, after some investigating, I found out that there were 2 packs of screws with a letter B on them. The instructions called for screws that had the letter B, and unfortunately, I grabbed the screws that were meant for the riser and not meant for the arcade cabinet. Now you can see there's a bit of a difference in length between the 2 different types of screws. The longer ones were the ones I needed for the arcade cabinet, the shorter ones that were labeled B are for the riser. Now, using the right screws made the arcade cabinet come together a heck of a lot easier. So I guess a word of advice if you are building one of these arcade cabinets, put all of the riser pieces aside first and build that last. Now overall, it took me about an hour to assemble this cabinet. It wasn't very laborious, it wasn't very difficult, provided I was using the right parts. All the holes are pre-drilled, the inside of the cabinet is completely hollow, so really you're just assembling the frame and inserting a few pieces. The joysticks and buttons were already fully mounted in the control panel. All I had to do was screw on the ball tops. Now, in terms of height, I am 6 feet tall, so here's me standing beside the cabinet for reference. You can see without a riser, it's not very tall at all. For a child, it would be absolutely fine, and if you're sitting down in front of the cabinet, it's also absolutely fine. The cabinet is pretty light and pretty easy to move around, but I would recommend using a riser if you are planning on standing up and playing this cabinet. I mean, I guess you could play hunched over like this, but I really wouldn't recommend doing it for an extended period of time. Additionally, if you don't have a riser, you can always kneel down in front if you don't have a chair or anything like that, and I guess that's okay. Now for reference, here is the arcade machine sitting on its beautifully themed Burger Time riser. Look at how majestic this cabinet looks now. On top of that, it's in a much better playing position. Thumbs up from me. I'm not joking though, when this is fully set up, the arcade system here looks great. I love how they paid very close attention to the original artwork for Burger Time. I love how this looks overall. I love how they went the extra mile here and shaped the side panels of this cabinet. The overall presentation for this Burger Time cab is great. Now these Burger Time cabinets are limited edition. There are only 3,075 being made. Each cabinet does come with a certificate of authenticity. My cabinet is numbered 395 of 3075. I would like to point out though that the front of the riser and the side panels of the arcade cabinet look more yellow on the website. In person, they are much more orange. In a dark room, this arcade cabinet really comes to life. The marquee is nice and bright, and the screen is nice and clear. This arcade machine starts up fairly quickly. This is in a pitch black room. This is what you're greeted with as soon as you hit the power switch. I was very impressed with the speaker on this cabinet. It is just one speaker and I was worried it was not going to be that loud, but here is a sample of how loud the speaker is on different volumes. Here is some sample gameplay of Karate Champ.
Dun. Point. Dun. Point. Dun. Point.
While Burger Time and Karate Champ utilize the entire screen, Bad Dudes and Caveman Ninja don't. Bad Dudes and Caveman Ninja only utilize a smaller portion of the screen, as the games are not the same layout as Burger Time and Karate Champ. Here is a sample of Bad Dudes. And here is a sample of Caveman Ninja. Now for my overall thoughts on the cabinet. First and foremost, the build process was very straightforward and easy. With all Arcade 1-Up cabinets, you do have to build them on your own, but at the same time, it's not a challenging task. In terms of the overall looks of this cabinet, they really hit it out of the park. It looks great. I love the light up marquee. I love the fact that the riser is also Burger Time themed. As for the controls on this cabinet, the control deck itself is laid out very nice. I really like how it's laid out. The button placement feels good. However, I didn't love everything about the controls. There were a few things I didn't like. First and foremost, I did not like the joysticks. Now, they don't feel like Sanwa joysticks. They kind of feel more akin to a zippy joystick. If you know how that feels, it's a little more stiff than a Sanwa joystick. It doesn't feel as accurate. On top of that, they also used a square gate in the joystick. Now, normally, a square gate is not an issue in the joystick whatsoever, but playing Burger Time felt really weird. Now, I thought I was just being a little fussy on the controls, but I had my wife try Burger Time out as well, and she ran into the same issue. So if you're climbing up and want to go left, sometimes it won't go left because you're holding up left, and it doesn't register that. Burger Time recognizes up, down, left, right only. So if you have a joystick here, pretend this is the corner of the gate. If you put your joystick into the corner of that gate, the game won't recognize that control. Now, yes, you can open up the controls and change the gate so it's different, but then again, for Bad Dudes, for Karate Champ, and for Caveman Ninja, you need the square gate. Now, in terms of the buttons, they are concave buttons and they do have a fair amount of travel. They're not necessarily the best buttons on the market, but at the same time, with the games that you'll be using these buttons for, they're absolutely fine. If you have an issue, you can always just swap them out. Now the game choices on this arcade machine are absolutely fine. Burger Time is a lot of fun. For some reason, I find Karate Time hilarious, and I also have a lot of fun with it. I never really played Caveman Ninja in the arcades, but I did play a lot of Joe and Mac on console. Now Caveman Ninja is obviously the better version, and it does feel like that it does play very well. Bad Dudes is super cheesy, but also super fun. Overall, it's a good pairing of games on this cabinet, and the hardware seems to handle them fairly well. Now there is one issue, and that is with Bad Dudes and Caveman Ninja. They don't utilize the full screen. In a darker room, you don't really notice it, but when the light is on and you're playing, you do notice that it is on a smaller screen. It's a bit of a bummer, but at the same time, after a while, I did not notice it playing the game. Now this cabinet, you won't find it in stores. The Burger Time cabinet is exclusively available on Arcade1Up's site at a price of $399. Now is this cabinet worth it at $399? Well, I would say if you like Burger Time, absolutely. Because this cabinet is themed as Burger Time. It's got the light up marquee, it's got the artwork on the sides. It is a Burger Time cabinet. If you like the game, then absolutely yes. I think the cabinet looks great. The attention to detail is amazing on this cabinet. I love the overall aesthetic and how it really brightens up a game room. Now the cabinet isn't perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and the price aligns with pretty much the rest of Arcade1Up's offerings. It is a limited edition, it is pretty unique, and I quite enjoy it. But anyways, that's all I've got for today. If you like this Burger Time arcade cabinet, let me know in the comments below. If there's another Arcade1Up cabinet that you really like, let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.